like a skyscraper.
House in the centre, they'd be concerned because the Bulldogs have played by far the better football in the second half. Williams almost throws it to Burns. Lucuria scrambles a kick forward. The only player there in the way, Bandy. Now he's got Grant running for him. He uses him. Former captain. Runs to centre wing. Darcy's made position. No one stands the mark, so Walker not making a real effort there. Kick towards Boyd, couldn't quite control the half volley. Now the numbers with the Magpies, although Morrison, ineffective handball. Now Johnson. Johnson for Collingwood. Williams hemmed in against the boundary line, forced to give it back to Johnson, who kicks haphazardly towards the wing. Carousel are lucky, but he was outnumbered 4-1, so he just handballed into space. Grant knocks it to McMahon. They've still got the numbers, the Dogs. Burse beats Williams, and he's away. Shane Burse drills it in short. Johnson providing the lead. Can he gather it before the line? No, it bounces away from him. So a boundary thrown deep in the attacking zone for the Western Bulldogs, and a little calf stretch. He thought he'd take the opportunity, the advertising hoarding, just to stretch the calf muscles. Brad Johnson.
Well, also, of course, it's related to his ankle problems. Possibly.
Possibly.
Just stretching it out, making sure it's okay.
Good observation.
Dr. Hutto.
Boundary throw in. Bandy. Well, Eagleton hit the pack hard and eventually handballs Goldwood. Wakeland, he's got nowhere to go. He needs to concede. He looked out to the right, nothing there. So a behind to the Bulldogs, and the Collingwood lead now just 2 points.
Ryan Loney not using his prodigious possibilities, instead going to Clement, who kicks it up into the sun. Tough one for Tarrant, drops at the right time. Onto his chest, Woden and Lockyer, who's been a little quieter after he was terrific early. Inside 50, some hands to it. Grant wanted a free. McMahon under siege here. There is a whistle, and it is a Bulldogs ball. And taken quickly across the ground and effectively.
Got Eagleton.
Cross. Delivers in fairly unimpressive fashion to that player. Eagleton had time on his side, though, and uses Darcy. And again, the Dogs get it to the middle, but it's the next step that's the problem. Johnson's got away from Clement, and this time, not even James Clement's closing speed could stop Brad Johnson taking the grab. What a wonderful contest it's been between those two.
And it has. It was a terrific kick by Darcy, but Johnson got a nice little screen from Smith, which caused Clement to have to run around him, and Johnson was able to find a bit of space.
Well, now's the time for the Bulldogs to kick a straight goal, and Brad Johnson, unfortunately, couldn't deliver. They go to 10-16. Leon Davis watching on. Collingwood 11-11. They managed just 1-7 in that third quarter, and the inaccuracy continues.
Loney, Morrison back to Loney, the old 1-2, but again, they're forced to go across the ground. Clement's got a real problem here. They're going to give away. He's been pinged for dropping the ball. Perhaps a bit harsh, because Clement may be able to argue he put in the old-fashioned drop kick there.
Yes.
You're clutching at straws there.
Well, let's watch it again. Let's watch the old-fashioned drop kick, bounce and a kick. So, touch unlucky there.
It's a reasonable case, though. I mean, that is a flimsy case, isn't it? No, that was a drop kick.
Oh, yeah.
So Kearney now a chance to put the Bulldogs in front for the first time since the 7-minute mark of the second quarter from 25 metres. He squeezes it through. The Bulldogs in front of the MCG.
Why'd I choose a Camry 4? It's got the economy of a 4-cylinder in the space of a big sedan. And I got mine with free rego, free CTP, and the warranty extended to 5 years. Now you're talking.
Right now at Red Rooster, you can get 2 combos for $11. Choose from the strip sub, crispy fillet burger, rooster roll, or flavour combo, and you'll get dinner for 2 for $11. But who will you take? Rush to Red Rooster now.
This game's starting to take on huge proportions, I reckon, now for the Bulldogs. They've controlled it. They've had so much of the footy, and it could be very heartbreaking for them if they can't convert it to 4 points so early in the season under the new Eid regime. Darcy breaking. Again, Johnson will be an option. In the meantime, Hahn takes it. Johnson doubles back into the square. Boyd's there as well. Hahn sets it up. No real high flyers there. Eagleton, Johnson. That was not a mark. Well, it's been paid. But having a look at it from above, as we did, it appeared to be quite a few hands in there, but I could be wrong.
Great.
No, you've got to pay it. Fair call.
And we've said it all day. The long kick to the goal square, they could have done it a few more times, but Brad Johnson, terrific mark on that occasion.
Very close to the man on the mark, making sure he had the best angle possible. Well done, Johnson.
Nice juicy burger. Sizzling hot chips.
Is this what kids should eat? Coming soon to 10, the controversial new series that had the Brits up in arms.
I've turned into a dinner lady.
Jamie Oliver wants to change high school food. But a healthy change is the last thing this school wants.
What's it called?
Focaccia.
Well, I ain't even going to be able to say it. We need a label.
Jamie's School Dinners, coming soon on 10.
Anthony Rocker into the ruck.
So a real challenge here for Collingwood. Western Bulldogs kicked 1-7 in the third quarter. Perhaps should have been a couple of goals in front at three-quarter time. But now they're starting to get reward for effort. They've already kicked 3-2 in this final quarter. Collingwood yet to score. So Steve said Rocker now in the ruck against Darcy. Darcy went early. Lucuria couldn't track it by Woden Cano-Bree. Now Lucuria wants his left side. He's in trouble here, but he put the foot down. Well played, Lucuria. Long to the goal square. Davis in front. Carosella off hands. Couldn't manufacture anything there, and Grant is able to keep it in just and kick out wide. Ball close to the line. Can Darcy keep it in? He does. Got the numbers. Burst. They're doing it very well here, the Bulldogs. Daniel Cross. They're finishing full of running. Johnson provides the long lead, chipping in front Lockyer. Now Ben Johnson. I don't see that very often. A right foot kick. Bandy tackles Rocker. He didn't have it. No free kick. Play on's the call. Lockyer again. He's got nowhere to go. Forced just to kick high and hope. The only player there is Hahn, and he's marked at centre-half back for the Dogs.
And so they want to keep attacking here, the Bulldogs. Can't afford to go defensive. It's still a long way to go in the quarter. And again, Hahn, who's been important always, going for a Monday afternoon stroll and got run down. And the aggression needs to be shown here by both sides. It's tight and tough stuff. It's great stuff. It's a hot potato out wide for Shaw to hang on to. He delivers well for O'Brien, but there was nothing for him to go to. So he has to go backwards. Showed pretty good composure. Waited till Shaw was an option. He blasts away into the pocket. In fact, that was quite a clever kick as well. Straight to the boundary line.
It was spot on there, Hutto. He had no one else on. There were 2 or 3 Western Bulldogs players by themselves inside their back 50, so the boundary line was the best option.
Still no sign of Nathan Buckley. Those minutes there, I suspect you saw, was their last quarter minutes. And Nathan Buckley spending just 53 minutes on the ground of a possible 90 up until three-quarter time. Davis. And they work it back again. O'Brien. Lockyer and Williams, I should say, coming out on the lead. And it's been the dangerous half-forwards, hasn't it, such as Carosella and Davis, and now Williams, who have perhaps been Collingwood's best options going to goal.
Good play by O'Brien, just centering the kick, and a couple of options there. Lockyer called out by Williams. So big kick this for Andrew Williams.
Played just 5 times last year for the Pies, kicked 3 goals, 3, and there was some question marks over whether he would still be in the black and white for this year. But Mick Malthouse had a long relationship with him, obviously, at West Coast, and has faith in him. This is a big kick. He was able to do it in the Wizard Cup. Can he do it in the real thing? Not this time. It's a wobbly one. And the Bulldogs will be very keen to see it over the line in some way, shape or form. Or even better, they might be able to get out of defence, and they can. And it's Farron Ray to take it.
Links with Murphy, and the Bulldogs are away. full of run with the Western Bulldogs. Murphy, a couple of options, decides to go long to Boyd. Good hands in front of Morrison. They look dangerous. Kick towards Cross, who kept going. Oh, the Courier giving away a free kick. It was Shaw. Play on's the call. Darcy in the goal square by himself. Turns and kicks another one. The Bulldogs further in front.
Fairly significant at the moment. Is there anything wrong with Nathan Buckley? This game needs to be won, and if he's fit, he should be on the ground.
Well, you would suspect that he has got an injury. As we heard Andrew say, probably not the hamstring. But the Dogs have got all the answers at the moment. Chris Grant, who surprisingly today, despite all the pre-season comments that he would play forward, lined up in defence, and he's done a very solid job. Out wide he goes, and this has been the pattern to Hargrave. A long bomb. Morrison versus Boyd. Boyd gets a second crack at it here. Did he infringe? No, he didn't. Wants to release it. Morrison scratching. Carousella. Eagleton got in his back. Play on. Burns took it to ground. Again, Morrison and Burns. Clear heads required. It's 3-on-1. And the numbers with the Dogs. And the footy with the Dogs at the moment. Gian Syracusa into Murphy. This is the brigade, the maturing youngsters of the Bulldogs that Rocket Eade needs to perform. But they've still got the magic of the experience of Brad Johnson. He was overwhelmed in the end. And O'Brien it is, showing a clean pair of heels.
Kick short, very short to Johnson, barely 15 metres.
Well, the problem with Collingwood at the moment, they're running wide. They've got to try and run hard through the corridor. Too many players are calling for the ball wide rather than through the middle of the corridor.
Now with Reece Shaw, and that's what confronts him. As you can see, not much movement. David Fanning screaming for it 20 metres away. That's not going to be of much use. So instead of kicking to a contest 50 metres afield, they decide to retain possession. Morrison to Woden. Still at half back though, Collingwood. They need to get a move on. They're down by 17 points. The Courier on the wing. Lockyer runs for him. And that was a poor option. Poor kick. Fortuitously ends up with Shaw, Lockyer, and now Tarrant on the lead. Can they find an option inside attacking 50?
Rockers just got to get to the goal square.
Tarrant kicks and a good lead. And mark taken by Paul Le Courier, who spent a lot of time this afternoon up forward, coming in for possession number 25. So, as always, getting a lot of the football. But gee, Collingwood need to kick a goal here from outside 50. He comes in, drop punt is across the face, and in fact hits the post. So we're behind to the Magpies. First score for the quarter, 15 minutes in. Meantime, the Bulldogs have managed to kick 4 goals too.
Well, they've got their game on their terms, haven't they, the Bulldogs? They've done very well. They're holding possession. It's only the mistakes that it's going to cause them to lose this game now, the Bulldogs.
Talking of mistakes, look at that. Clangers for this last quarter, 10-1. The Magpies today, of course, without Richards, Fraser, Didak and Jason Cloak. The Bulldogs pretty close to full strength as West sends them onto the wing again. And Nathan Eagleton, who's been a very consistent performer this afternoon, puts it in front of Bowden. Oh, lunge from Wakeland. Joe using all his guile and years in the game. As we look at the marks in this last quarter, and again, the Bulldogs have controlled that area.
Great build-up there by the Bulldogs. Terrific run out of the back half. Great spoiled by Wakeland.
Yeah, we've been impressed with Nathan Eagleton. He's run harder than anyone else on this ground today. He's been fantastic in the second half in particular.
13 possessions, 5 times he sent them inside 50. He's kicked 1 goal, 3. There's Big Fanning. Again, it was Darcy tapping it to the danger area. Eagleton versus Burns. Good clash of bodies. Eagleton's taken it to ground. Be interesting to see the ruling on this one. The umpire lets it go. and go, and then Bowden says, I'll have a crack at them, but I'll miss the lot.
That rule is almost, they basically shovel the ball out now.
Yeah.
A couple of gives.
So Wakeland at fullback. Fanning moves for him.
What would you
David
do if
Fanning just getting too close to the man with the ball. He needs to provide a long target. Eventually forced to kick very short.
What would you do if you were Mick Malthouse, Steve?
I'd like to see Rocker and Bo Tarrant out of the goal square. Rocker's got to be the stationary forward. Tarrant's got to be the leading forward. Open it up and just put the Bulldogs under pressure.
So forced to play on Woden in the end. Almost a clever mark. In fact, a free kick to the Bulldogs. Gian Siracusa against Burns for over the shoulder. Let's have a look at it. Well, may have thought he dragged him down. He chips towards Farron Ray, who drifts into space inside attacking 50.
Just great usage there, but very, very poor marking by the Magpies.
Still plenty of time for Collingwood, but they're just not playing well enough at the moment.
And the Bulldogs have done tremendously well. They're just forcing the Magpies out wide. None of their players come through the middle of the corridor.
Farron Ray pretty fresh. He'd only played 20 minutes up until three-quarter time.
And yet to play in a winning side for the Western Bulldogs. All these 7 appearances last year were all losses. So new territory perhaps for Farron Ray. From about 45 metres. Couple of deep breaths, he slots it. The Bulldogs, are they home at the MCG?
Hello, Moto.
Well, it was a great moment for Farron Ray, his first goal in AFL footy. Not such a great moment for Mick Malthouse. He's at the end of the Maggies for today. They need to get something going. They've got to generate something out of the middle. Burns and Woden. That's a great sign for the Bulldogs. Collingwood being run down left, right and centre at the moment. And it was young Daniel Cross doing the tackling. It wasn't such a great kick. It could have been a free kick, but turnover. Wakeland. It's a productive handball. Holland makes it difficult for Tarrant. Hargrave was right there with him. Leon Davis. Gone. Just held on to it a moment too long.
Gee, he didn't have much chance to get rid of it, did he?
It was there, I think, that the umpire finally made the call, but that's the way they're calling it this year. 6 frees to 0 for the quarter in favour of the Doggies, who, in fairness, are making the running. 22 points the margin, and now, really, the Bulldogs have probably got enough of a lead that they don't have to do anything silly. High ball onto the wing. Grant, Cooney, some terrific signs for the Bulldogs with their youngsters such as Cooney and Ray. Gilby, who's had 25 possessions, Cooney 24, Cross has had 22 possessions, Gian Siracusa 21, Bowden is surprised, he's had 20 touches, Murphy 19, West and McMahon 18. So that is one of the real pleasing things I would think today, Steve, for Rodney.
I think you're spot on.
The spread from the young players and the more experienced ones. Another whistle and another Bulldogs free. And it's going to Bandy. 7 possessions for Daniel Bandy. And see what Robert Murphy thinks he should do. And he couldn't execute the way that Murphy would have liked. O'Brien, we've got 5.5 minutes to go. So Collingwood have got to do something, and they've got to do it quick.
Rocker, along the wing, gets to Carosella. Now Davis, more scrappy old kick towards half forward. Lucuria Gets to his feet very quickly, shrugs a tackle. Well done by Carousel. He kept going from 40 metres. He bounces it home, but it's offline. So, missed opportunity there for the Magpies. Blake Carousel, 2-2 this afternoon.
If they do go down, Steve, what do you read into this for Collingwood for first round match without their big men in Fraser and Richards, and particularly Buckley below his best?
Oh well, I think obviously the first game of the season, you can't be panicking, but obviously they'd be disappointed. They were in position early in this game that they were 3 or 4 goals up, so that's the most disappointing factor about the Magpies at the moment. But from the Western Bulldogs' point of view, as you mentioned, guys like Gilby, Cooney, Cross, and Syracuse, Bowden, for them to be in the high possessions, 12 months ago you would have seen their old-timers getting plenty of the ball and losing the game. This is a real positive to see these youngsters getting plenty of the ball.
Darcy, Leon Davis, Holland, just trying to create something there, bringing Burns into the play. Back to Davis. Again, they're going nowhere fast. That looked like it could have been a throw. Play on was the call, and the ball is out of bounds. 21 points the margin. Michael, you're a former Collingwood star and premiership player. Were you optimistic about the year ahead after what you've seen today?
Well, they've got a long way to go, Collingwood. There's no doubt about that. They've looked to, as Steve said, 23 points up midway through the second term, and they look to be full of running, but this last quarter, I think the youth of the Western Bulldogs has been something that has really troubled them. Burns, now Cooney has been very good. Good tackle, though, by Ray. Feeds it out wide. Darcy, big tackle on Davis. Ray again with the crumb. The free kick coming back to Leon Davis, and cheers from Collingwood fans. First free kick for the quarter. A couple of people had enough.
Let's see what's to come for the Magpies. Adelaide, Carlton, the Kangaroos, and Essendon. So they want to be pretty competitive in those matches.
So Leon Davis, too far out to score. Tarrant on a lead. Davis long to the top of the goal square. Rawlings at the back, but a big mark in front taken by Mitch Hahn, and he's been fantastic today as well for the Bulldogs.
Well, he's only had 14-15 possessions, Mitch Hahn, but some of the real hard work, solid tackling, has been sensational.
Grant kicks out wide to Cross, who's been good as well. Ray feeds it out wide. Faulkner confronted by Holland, but he's got time. Kicks into the pocket. Chance for Robert Murphy. He's got to beat Ben Johnson. Where will he go? He decides to do it all himself and bring it back. Inspiring stuff from Robert Murphy, if you don't mind. What a goal. There's the icing on the cake for the Bulldog fans. And they know it. A big win here at the MCG to the Western Bulldogs, coming from behind. And let's have a look at this. And Stevie gets the ball to Murphy. He has a bit of a look inside. There's no one there. Yeah. So he says, well, no one there, so okay, let's have a ping. And he brought it across his body in sensational style for a great goal.
And we just saw the vision there, the number of Collingwood players on screen. He had to have a shot, and he did it very, very well.
Phil Manasseh will be looking closely at that one for the goals of the week. Rodney Eade trying to remain and look like a coach and be very serious, but inside he must be really pumping. That's a terrific start to his tenure at the Whitten Oval. 106-79. Holland, who hasn't stopped trying for the Magpies. He's had 18 touches.
53,259 people here at the MCG. So, big crowd. We've witnessed a fantastic, certainly second half from the Western Bulldogs.
It's the biggest crowd the Bulldogs players have played in front of since round 13, 1999 against Essendon. So for many of these youngsters, this would be their biggest occasion. Darcy, West, Mercuria hasn't stopped mining hard for the ball. That time, though, the turnover. Gin Syracuse are bouncing around in the middle. Faulkner's had a bit of a tough time today. Rowan Smith. Well, he's capable of the long bomb. Shares it instead. Gian Syracuse to burst. And he's had 13 touches himself Shane Burse, and another youngster who has taken his time finding his way in AFL football.
Just the 6 games last year, missed a lot of football with a knee injury.
Kicked a nice goal earlier in the game, looking for his second. To really ram it home for the Bulldogs. And he likes it.
Sign up to the new Chic Quattro, the world's only razor with 4 blades and 2 conditioning strips. No other razor shaves closer or smoother than Chic Quattro. Get ready.
So the Bulldogs have kicked 7 goals 2 in this final term to the Magpies 2 behinds. They've dominated. O'Brien kicks it forward only as far as Rawlings. This is a positive for the Bulldogs. He's been very quiet today. When he finds his form, that'll be an added bonus. Chris Grant. Bulldogs have kicked 8 of the last 9 goals. Cross. Chips it short to Farron Ray, who has got better as the game's gone on. Taken number 4 in 2003 National Draft. He's going to be a real player for them, no question about that. Kicks inside, Rawlings. Dive, couldn't take it. Chance for Wakeland. Holland, who's tried hard. Little toe poke was effective. Morrison. Forward to the play, Loney. Now Burns from just inside 50. Scotty Burns blazes away and just scrapes it in for a behind. So nothing going right, and there's a very happy president, I'm sure, David Smorgan of the Western Bulldogs. Ready to celebrate.
We do a little dance tonight like he did up in Canberra last year. What are you looking at, Steve?
I just want to know what type of dance that was.
Interesting to know that both sides judging the subject. He was just dancing with the fans. They've had the same, up until a moment ago, the same number of disposals in the last quarter, yet 7 goals to zip. No one coming at Rawlings, so he just gives it everything he's got. Chris Grant will have a nice little run here and a nice jump, but he shoved him out, the umpire said. So free kick to Anthony Rocker. He finds himself in the defensive half at the moment. Some tired legs out there. Well played, Western Bulldogs. Well done to Rodney Eade. All the plaudits to the young dogs. They've come from behind to defeat the Magpies in convincing style. A 7-goal last quarter produces a final scoreline of 16-16, 112 to 11-14, 80. No dancing, but plenty of high fives for David Smorgan.
Super effort by the Western Bulldogs. They 23 points down halfway through that second quarter, and to fight back, get the game back on their terms. I think all the Western Bulldog fans would be absolutely delighted with their side.
Well, let's get to one of the stars of the day in a moment, and here he is, Luke Darcy with Andrew Marr.
Thanks very much, Hutto. First game as skipper, what a great way to start it.
Yeah, all we want to do is win, I suppose, and I think we've improved a bit over pre-season, and it was a tough game. We were in strife at various stages and hung in there, so a lot of positive stuff, mate.
The methodical way you did it in the last quarter, 7 goals to 0 at three-quarter time, was the game that you might have lost in another lifetime.
Yeah, you're right. I think one of the things that Rockets brought to us is an ability to sort of concentrate and know how to think yourself through a game, and at times we had to change our game plan, we had to run hard, and I thought the boys played really well.
And it was the shared load. That's the other thing. I think when you sit down afterwards, you're going to talk about the fact that everybody contributed today.
Yeah, it's right, Andy. I think there's a lot of talent right across the board, and it's great to see Adam Cooney and Jordan McMahon and Ryan Hargrave and Brian Harris and these guys leading from the front, they're the guys that have improved an enormous amount in 6 months, and they're the guys we're looking forward to having a big year.
It's round one. We don't want to get too carried away, but can you feel that this might be something that can give you significant momentum going through?
I suppose it's 1 out of 22, isn't it? So as you said, there's a long way to go, and the thing you don't want to do is get carried away with yourself. And I know we've got a lot of improvement left. We've got to learn a lot over the year, and hope we can keep winning, mate.
And in front of 55,000 of the G, it's a good way to start.
Thanks, Andy.
Good on you, Luke Darcy. Back to you, Hutto.
Well, the pictures said it all, didn't they? The contrast in both teams as the Bulldogs celebrating their first win. They'll play Melbourne next week at the Telstra Dome on Saturday afternoon. We'll bring you all the action as we check the ladder. There it is from top to bottom. Of course, it's hard to read a lot into it at this stage, but we can have a closer look at the top 8. It is, of course, round 1, not round 12. It'll be interesting to see what the ladder will be after round 12. But the Bulldogs finding their place in there at number 5 as Sydney, Melbourne, Fremantle, Geelong, the Brisbane Lions and the Kangaroos and Eagles all winners. And there's the losers for the round. Collingwood with a percentage of 71 after today's disappointing result. But it's all good for the Bulldogs.
Fantastic win for the Bulldogs. Obviously, Rodney would be delighted that his second-tier players stood up today. The likes of Gilby, Cross, Gian Siracusa. Bowden had a terrific game, but led by Darcy out of the middle, I thought he was sensational. And Brad Johnson and Smith, halfway through that second quarter, were fantastic. And disappointment for Collingwood, who both Rocker and Tarrant had disappointing games.
The other story will be Nathan Buckley, won't it, Michael?
It certainly will, and surprised he didn't come back onto the ground, so clearly something not quite right with the captain, and it will be interesting as we look at Luke Darcy. He'll be very proud, and notice the interview, very cool and calm, not getting carried away at all. Big year perhaps ahead for the Western Bulldogs.
They'll certainly enjoy it tonight. They couldn't find the middle in the third quarter, managed just one goal. But in the last quarter, it came in an avalanche. They kicked 7, and they've won this game. 16-16, 112 to 11-14, 80. A very good afternoon from the MCG.
The 2005...
The following movie is classified M. Viewing by mature audiences is recommended.
Can hardened prisoners become gifted gardeners? The prize flowers in the Hampton Court Garden Show have never attracted so much attention. Helen Mirren cultivates...
So I've always had the impression that they're just these gentle critters that, you know, they quite enjoy the shears against their skin.
A lot of the time too, if your gear's not cut in properly, it's like pulling the hair out instead of cutting it off. It's like going to a hairdresser with blunt scissors and he starts ripping and hacking, you know.
So it's like a massive bikini wax.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
What a horrible thought.
Yes.
Les, I think it's currently $1.96 a head for every sheep you shear and put back down the chute.
$2.03.
$2.03, sorry.
You've got a wage right.
What's a good day shearing for you?
Well, you can't say that. Depends on the sheep, mate. Like each shed you go to is different sheep.
Yeah.
So, but I like shearing 150, 60.
160 in a day?
No, 150 to 160. Yeah. Where we are, they're all merinos. They've got a fair bit of wrinkle on them.
Yeah.
And they're pretty big.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing the splits to get around some of them.
Let's go through a working day, Dwayne. If I've got this right, you have a 2-hour shift, you got a smoko, another 2-hour run, lunch, 2 more hours smoko, 2 more hours knock off. So you're working 8 hours solid for a day. On the scale of hard jobs, where do you reckon shearing sits?
It's as hard as you make it. I mean, it's one of the few jobs you get paid for your ability. If you want to go out and shear 50 sheep for the day, well, you make your $100 and so be it. If you want to go out and shear 250, it's going to be a lot harder. But you'll shear 250 and you'll get paid accordingly.
So what does it feel like after you've done an 8-hour shift when you stand up at the end of the day?
Oh, you don't stand up, you call.
It must be one of those beer commercial moments of the
It really is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It never tastes as good as after a hard day's work. I think anyone who labours could say that.
Yeah. What about you, Les? How many years have you been shearing?
Well, I'm 65, so probably about 45 years.
How's your back?
Good.
Yeah?
Left hip's a bit crook.
Yeah.
But every shearer, once he gets over 35, he's got a crook hip.
What about you, Julie? Having a female body, is that better or worse equipped for the rigours of the job?
Once again, you've got to use technique a lot because you quite often don't have the strength or the weight. Weight makes a big difference. If you're shearing a sheep that's the same weight as you are, a bit heavier than you are, then when they kick, they tend to lift you off the floor a little. Getting them in and out of the pen's the worst, and then trying to get rid of them. These days, sheep are a lot bigger and their portholes are still tiny, and trying to get sheep that are too big for portholes down them, that takes it out of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to get work fit. You know, if you're work fit, that helps you. Like if you have 4 or 5 weeks off over Christmas and you come back, the first week, well, it does me anyhow because I'm a gut, so I love to eat. And I just see food and eat it, and I put on probably 6 or 7 kgs.
But that's good, isn't it? You build up for the season.
It starts the new year, you got a bit of weight to burn off, but you burn that off in, you know, January, February in the hot weather.
Only takes 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So what do you like by the end of a season? Must be nothing of you.
Pretty lean.
Yeah.
I've lost 6 kilos in a week once.
God, don't
Sharing
tell a current
at Campbell.
affair. You'll be the new miracle diet.
Hey, it was about 55 degrees in the shed and we're shearing weather, so it doesn't take long.
So what are you thinking about when you're shearing? You focused on the sheep or is your mind elsewhere?
Now I'm away fishing somewhere. Yeah, I am.
And
What about you? Yeah.
Travelling around the world.
Yeah, bloody hell.
See, I assume if you want to go to sleep at night, the last thing you do is count sheep.
Oh,
Right?
No.
Going to drive you absolutely
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Does shearing give you a chance to travel around the world, Julie? Is it like a passport to shearing pleasure?
Oh yeah, it is, if you want it to be. Last year I did 8 weeks in the UK and shearing Scotland and England. I was planning to go to the US shearing this year, but my plans got a bit sorted out.
Because you had a baby.
Yes, yes, maternity leave sort of stopped me going to the US. But yeah, you can shear in just about any country in the world that's got sheep, and Australians have a really good reputation overseas. It's really easy to get a job.
Do you love the job?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I go to sleep so I can get up and go to work the next day.
What is it you love?
Not all the time.
What do you love?
I guess, like Dwayne, I love the physical aspect of it. I'm definitely not a bookwork person. I'm extremely lazy when it comes to that. And the camaraderie, the travelling, oh, it's great. I just love it.
What about you, Dwayne? Are you proud of being a shearer?
Yeah, very much so. You can set yourself up pretty well if you work hard and spend your money well, like anything. It's the one good thing about shearing I've found is that you can never stop learning. I mean, you can get better and better and better throughout your years all the time. It's one of them things that you never accomplish fully, I suppose. You can, as good as a shearer you might be, there's always little things that can make you better.
What about you? What makes you proud about being a shearer?
Oh, it's what you achieve in a day's work. You know, years ago in the narrow gear days, like, the main aim was to shear 100. And once you hit 100, you're looking at 200. Then the wide gear come in, well, it's a different thing again. You look at 300 or more. And, if you can do that, you go home at night and say, I've had a good day's work.
Dwayne, you set a world record a couple of years ago. What was that?
Last October I did a 9-hour lamb record, and 2 years previous to that I did the 8-hour lamb record.
What was the 9-hour lamb record?
664.
In 9 hours?
Yeah. It was on about a 48-second average for each lamb.
What do you remember of that day?
I remember the pain.
Yeah.
I remember the euphoria at the end of the day.
When did the pain start to kick in?
Oh, quarter of an hour after you start.
Seriously, because you're going so fast?
Yeah, no, you're in pretty good shape. So, I mean, you get through a few hours of the day sort of quite comfortably. It's more so in the afternoon, coming home, that the pain really starts, yeah.
Have you got people there to help you, or are there others in the shed cheering you on?
Oh, yeah, a record day like that's a huge team effort. I've got a crew around me of about 30 or 40 people.
Julie, can you imagine shearing that many sheep in a day?
I can imagine it, but that's about as close as I'll get to it, I think, Andrew, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty good when I'm crutching that many. That does me for effort.
Absolutely.
Can you do that many?
Crutching?
Yeah, I can't.
What's the furthest? What's your best day, Les?
3:37.
Pretty amazing effort, nonetheless.
No.
No, it is.
Not when you got that bloke sitting up there.
Tell you what, to finish off, would you shear a sheep for us?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
All right.
Yeah, we want Leslie. Let's get a demo. We got a sheep here. We'll just bring this little bugger in. Now watch this, Les. What sort of sheep have we got here? Your basic merino, is it?
Yeah, mate.
Do you want me to grab that sheep for you, Les?
Look at the neck on the bloody thing.
Now, sometimes these sheep really have a kick to them, do they?
Yeah, they can, yep.
Yeah.
I think this one's been patted that many times
Yeah.
on the back, it's quite relaxed.
Now, we actually showed this one last year's Logies. It's completely comatose. You want to talk us through what's happening here, Dwayne and Jilly?
He's taking off the belly wool, which is what they talk about, the blue belly Joe.
Yep.
This one isn't, because it's got plenty of wool there. And giving him a bit of curry, I'd say maybe the gear's not too crash hot and might be pulling a bit.
So he's not too happy at the moment. So when they kick up like this is when you can cop one?
Yeah,
I see. He's gone ugly, hasn't he? Can you ever seriously damage a sheep with a cut? You obviously, those shears...
Yeah, you can, but it's pretty rare, Andrew. For the number of sheep that are shorn every day in Australia, the serious injuries to shearers would probably sit fairly similar to the serious injuries to sheep.
Oh, OK, so it's a level playing field, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Joanne, you were saying before you learn all the time. You're watching a guy that's been doing it for 45 years. You're learning stuff?
I'm learning Les probably doesn't really want to be there at the moment because his gear's not cutting that well.
Oh, is that right?
And it's chewing a bit. That's why the sheep is struggling.
Is that why it's tricky, Les? The gear's not going as well as it should?
Yeah, the pace is a bit slow, mate.
Oh, sorry about that. Not that it's my fault, but I just feel like apologising. Here, I'll help you here, Les. There, I've done my bit. That was wool classing.
The merino sheep, Andrew, obviously have a lot more skin than British breeds of sheep.
There we go. Les McElwain, 45 years, still cheering.
I'm impressed.
Good on you, Les. Will you please, ladies and gentlemen, thank Jilly Hancock, Les McElwain, Dwayne Black. It's that part of the show we call Show and Tell, where you could be a star. If you'd like to tell us something about your life, share something extraordinary about you or your household or your friends or your hobbies, here's how to do it. Here's our website, abc.net.au/enough-rope. If you've got a story fascinating enough to tell, we'd love to show it here on Show and Tell. Now, tonight is an unusual edition of Show and Tell. We have a repeat visitor. Last July, Dean Frankel joined us, a harmonic singer. And for those that don't recall, here's a recap. Yes, harmonic throat singing. Do not adjust your sets. That was actual, ladies and gentlemen. Well, tonight, Dean is back and he's going to attempt to break a world record. Would you please welcome Dean Frankel?
Good evening to you.
Dean, welcome.
Thank you.
This is not usual enough rope territory. We're actually going for a Guinness Book of World Records attempt. What are you going for?
The longest continuous vocal note.
Which is? What's the record?
29.03 seconds.
And 29, that doesn't sound that long. Is it hard to hold a note for that long?
When you're under this kind of pressure, it is.
Yes, look, I do apologise. We are holding your children hostage, and I realise now that that is a morally wrong thing to do. Now, you've actually been doing a fair bit of training for this moment, haven't you?
Lots of saunas and spas every day and a little bit of singing practice as well.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about pressure. Do you actually feel tense, or is there anything we can do to relax you?
I feel give me a massage.
Yeah, look, I'm cheap, but not that cheap.
A remarkable combination of excitement, a little bit of tension, and also deeply relaxed.
All right, so 29.03 is the record. What are you hoping to hit tonight?
I'll be disappointed if I get less than 60 seconds.
Wow, so you're looking not just to break, but to smash this record.
I'm hoping to double it and a little bit more. If I get to 58, I'll be half happy.
OK, well, why don't you go and take your position and find your character, find your centre, and we will talk to our adjudicators here, Dean.
Thank you,
your
Andrew.
Position. And over here we have Joanne and Alexandra. Hello.
Hi.
You are...
I'm Alex.
Alex, sorry, and Joanne. Now, you're from the Conservatorium. When we say adjudicating tonight, what does that mean?
Basically, we're observing.
Mm-hmm.
We're making sure that he does what he's meant to do.
And what is he meant to do? Because there are particular conditions, aren't there, he's got to hit tonight. What are they?
There are. He needs to stay in pitch. He needs to have a consistent pitch. And
What pitch is
also,
he-
we don't want to see any
ostinato.
sneaky breaths.
No sneaky breaths. What pitch is he going for?
Well, it's up to him.
Yes.
But once he commences that,
Right.
we hope that harmonic singing is basically an ostinato with the tunes above it.
Okay. What pitch are you going for, Dean?
Whatever.
The first one that feels right.
The first one
Whatever
feels
he
right.
chooses.
And we're examining, we've got a timekeeper over here, Ian. G'day, Ian. Tell us about the timepiece.
Yes, it's a homologated sports timing timer.
Yeah, so we're going to get an absolute record of this. And we've got Gavin, our very sound recordist here. Now, Gavin, you're making sure, you're actually keeping a track of that the note still exists.
That's right, measuring the decibel level so that it's constant.
Okay, so we're doing everything possible to make sure that if this world record is set, it is a genuine world record.
Absolutely.
Now, there's one important thing everyone here has to do, which is completely shut up. Okay? When I call for silence, complete silence, because any extraneous noise will, of course, intrude on this, and Dean's children will never be returned to him. So, complete silence, please. Dean, do you think you're ready to go?
Whenever you are.
Okay. I'm going to count down from 10. I will stop the countdown at 3. Everybody ready? Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. What's our time, Ian? 56.92. Gavin, 56.92. Were we within the parameters?
Yes, he was.
Definitely within. Joanne, Alex?
Absolutely.
You're satisfied?
Congratulations.
We have a world record. Please congratulate me. How did that feel at the end?
I was pushing myself.
Yeah.
It was like I had 100 snowmen trying to break out inside me. But
Is that right?
A bit like that.
And is there anything you can do at that point to drive yourself further, or is it just a case of hoping your lungs don't actually end up on the stage?
Well, you have to hold your lungs in so they don't end up on the stage, but fundamentally, it's just a matter of hoping that every second passes like it's 5 seconds.
Sounds very much like my sex life. Well done, you. Dean Frankel, you are now, well, not officially, we'll send it off to the Guinness Book of Records, but hopefully a world record holder. Please congratulate Dean Frankel, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Andrew.
That is all from enough road. We'll see you again next week. Until then, good night. Cheers, Dean.
Thank you, Andrew.
On Wednesday, you'll see the news of the week in a totally different light when Will Anderson, Dave Hughes and Corinne Grant share their offbeat views in the Glass House, 9:30 Wednesday night. Stay with us now for Lateline.
Feeling a little wild?
Gardening and wildlife side by side. Come and explore nature's playground.
Get back to nature.
Or is it time to get cosy with great drama?
You're hiding something, and I'm going to find out what it is.
What has my private life got to do with you?
Or maybe you want to let your hair down with some fresh variety.
Welcome to the Memphis Trousers Half Hour.
When I was a kid, I thought everybody wanted to be a pop star.
For a night this good, it must be Saturday with ABC.
Triple J's Hottest 100 Volume 12. 2 CDs with 40 of the hottest hits as voted by you. Triple J's Hottest 100 Volume 12. Get it now.
Festival that time forgot.
Gosh! In a town hall that dare not speak its name.
Wow! The brightest stars in the business of show.
Gosh! Rich Hall, Sue-Ann Post,
Mike Wilmot and more.
9:30 Wednesday, the Glass House from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
Be there or regret it for the rest of your miserable life.
I think I saw a lot of filling.
It really makes me happy, you know, and I just love watching the arts and the music shows. The only station that my dad will say, can you just put the volume up? Gone are the days when, you know, you'd call up your mum and you'd say, oh, you know, quick, go and get a tape, you know, quick, tape it out. And I think it's really good that how they cover news and current affairs, especially with the kids' programs as well. Did you watch that show last week on Australia?
Yeah, I watch ABC too.
Tonight, the power of one. A senior Liberal backbencher sends a very public message to the Prime Minister declaring he'll now support Peter Costello for the top job.
After a considerable period of time of being loyal to one leader, it's time for me to make a change because it's obvious that the loyalty I've shown is not being repaid.
Good evening, welcome to Lateline. I'm Quentin Dempster, filling in for Tony Jones, who's ill. Shortly, we'll cross live to Jakarta to talk to human rights activist H.S. Dillon about the poisoning murder of Indonesia's most prominent human rights campaigner, Munir Said Thalib, on a Garuda flight to Amsterdam last September. Now there's a suspect in the case as an investigative task force authorised by President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono recreates events from eyewitness accounts. That's later, but first our other headlines. Last rites and lost hope. Terry Schiavo's parents tell Right to Life protesters that the fight is over. The Pope's health problems prevent him from delivering his Easter message at the Vatican. And food for thought. Zimbabwe's opposition party pledges to keep the country fed if it wins this week's election. A federal Liberal backbencher has declared that he no longer supports John Howard as Prime Minister. Albie Schultz has instead switched his allegiance to Peter Costello. The often outspoken MP from the southern New South Wales seat of Hume says he's abandoned Mr Howard out of exasperation because of the control the PM's office has over appointments to the ministry and committees. And Mr Schultz says he's not the only backbencher who feels frustrated. From Canberra, Greg Jennett reports.
Albie Schultz doesn't mince words.
After a considerable period of time of being loyal to one leader, it's time for me to make a change because it's obvious that the loyalty I've shown is not being repaid.
A Howard backer since his entry to federal parliament in 1998, Mr Schultz is now checking in with the Costello camp.
What the PM does is up to the PM. All I'm saying is that the PM no longer has my support.
His anger stems in part from being overlooked by the Prime Minister's office for the chairmanship of the House Agriculture Committee. But the former meat worker eventually got the last laugh, securing the job in a ballot at the expense of Mr Howard's nominee.
It's once again an illustration of the depth of feeling within the Liberal Party in particular, from its backbenchers when they see decisions being made that aren't necessarily in the best interests of not only the party, but of the country as a whole.
He's hit out at the whips and elements within the Prime Minister's office, who he says are controlling the Liberal Party and rewarding some with patronage at the expense of experienced MPs.
There's no democracy in the way in which the party is functioning at the moment.
Albie Schultz controls only his vote in the party room, and he accepts that the Prime Minister's leadership is not under threat. But his tactics in so publicly withdrawing support for the Prime Minister do set a new standard in boldness for the Costello camp at a time when John Howard has been urging unity in the ranks.
Peter Costello obviously is in a position and has the experience since he's been in Parliament of making a good leader.
He'll need many more Albie Schultzes to get him there. Greg Jemmett, Lateline.
The United States might be one of Australia's closest allies, but a new survey reveals that many Australians are just as concerned about America's foreign policies as